All right, back to it now. It is honestly the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And look, I'm in the media. We hear some dumb things, all right? It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. They want to bulldoze state forest lands in Michigan to build solar farms. They want to get rid of deer and turkeys and mice and muskrats and whatever else so they can put in Chinese-made solar panels. Well, apparently the idea is not going over particularly well. Ken Borton was here from Gaylord yesterday. He is in a district that represents Hayes Township, where one of these solar farms was supposed to go in, 420 acres. But apparently they're having some difficulty now. Joining me is Katie Heid from Michigan News Source. Katie, good to have you back on the program.
Good morning.
So they've run into some difficulty. Most notably, the company that would provide the solar panels, the solar company, says, you know what? Maybe we don't want anything to do with this. Maybe not. Maybe it's a big old black eye in the PR department, and they're like, we're good. Tell us what's happening.
It's been a lot going on in the last 3.5 days since this story gained some traction. What originally came out is that the DNR was going to lease some public land up in that Gaylord area in Otsego County to give to a private company so that they could put on solar panels for their solar farms. And Michiganders got wind of it, and they are mad. And so yesterday we received word that the company is backpedaling or saying we don't want to invest there. The DNR is issuing a notice of public intent today. We have reached out to the DNR, both the director and their director of communications, to ask them specifically who made this decision on the behalf of Michigan taxpayers. How much energy is expected to be generated if that program goes through? And with that energy, is it going to go to Michiganders, or is it going to be shipped out of state to other residents? There are a lot of unanswered questions, but right now it sounds like the DNR might be pressing pause on that because of outrage from lawmakers and Michiganders.
Yeah, and so look, I go to national forests in Michigan. So do millions of people. Let's just talk about the practical application here, because it's a much bigger problem. We've got this one identified, but as you know, and we've talked about, it could be thousands of acres because this stuff is all done in secret, Katie. That's the thing that makes people so angry. These NDAs, like the Goshen deal and the mega site out in Eagle and all. It's all these NDAs. It's all in secret that these people are playing these games. So apparently Gretchen Whitmer thinks it's a great idea to bulldoze Michigan's forest to put in these solar panels or whatever else they want to do. Maybe it's a Chinese EV plant. Maybe it's, a plant to do whatever they're doing. The fact is we don't know because they do it in secret, and that's just wrong.
I'm glad you brought that up because Governor Whitmer does have a role in this. She's been left out of some of those news stories, but her role with laws passed last year with her in 2023 with her Democratic majority is to have 100% clean energy in the state by the year 2040. And so that is hanging over our heads at this point. And another thing to mention is that even though a mission statement isn't legally binding, the DNR's very own mission statement is to make sure that they're the stewards of Michigan's natural resources, that they conserve our trees and forests and water that we have here in this state. And this seems to directly contradict that. Another thing to remember is that the Department of Natural Resources consists of unelected bureaucrats, and that is playing a role in this as well. If you remember in the lame duck session, Steve, this is worth noting too, the DNR wanted to pass a bill that did not get out of session, but it was a failed bill to have Michiganders opt out of the recreation passport. So rather than opting in, they would have to opt out. And so you would be paying some people not knowing that they were paying for the recreation passport, and that was expected to generate $17 million for the DNR. That didn't pass, and so I think people have a bad taste in their mouth from something like this, and now what we're seeing with those solar farms.
Yeah, a bad taste to say the least. This story has blown up, as it should, and I don't know anything about this company. I don't know if you do. RWE Clean Energy. I don't know anything about them. But I know that Ken Borton was on the program here yesterday saying this is a terrible idea. Nobody wants this sort of thing. And what do you get out of it? Look, it's January in Michigan. If I walk outside right now, I'm not going to see a lot of sunshine, am I?
No. And what is this? A third, a third of our year is cloudy.
Yeah.
That definitely raises some problems, and it gets really cold here in Michigan when you're talking heat. That's a problem too. And then once the solar farms have served their purpose, what happens to the panels?
They're
They're
in
not
landfill.
biodegradable. You don't just push them into the woods and they'll take care of themselves.
No.
They are filling up landfills. They're polluting the environment. So they're marketed as green, but they're extremely bad for the environment.
Yeah. It's really remarkable to me. And if memory serves, the big snowstorm we got to start the year just around Thanksgiving, I think Gaylord got 50 inches of snow. Because
Were you
Gaylord
driving through that?
Yeah, they're in a snow belt there, right? And so, how well do these solar panels work if they're under a snowbank? Do they work pretty well then? I mean, I'm no expert on science. I'm going to guess they don't do much then.
I'm
Crazy.
guessing that they don't work very well at all. And this is what we see with these plans, that there's no forethought to them. If we install them, if we get rid of this 420 acres of forest to install these solar panels, what do Michiganders get out of it? What's the payoff? What's the benefit to that? And people are saying nothing.
Yeah, we get doodly squat, I think is the technical term, doodly squat. All right, so I'm guessing that Michigan News Source, you guys got FOIAs out, you're asking questions, you're trying to figure out where else this might be going on, because if it's happening there, it's happening other places. There's just no question about it. The question is, how many other places? That's the real question people have today. 400 acres here. How many thousands of acres total are they playing games with?
Exactly. And we are definitely doing our due diligence to find those documents, to find those names. Like you had mentioned earlier, lawmakers are calling for mass firings. We want names. And Michiganders are saying we want names. Some have even brought up on social media that we need to defund the DNR, that it's way too big. It's too bureaucratic to be doing the job that it needs to do. And so this story is not over, and it's certainly not over as it relates to the state of Michigan.
Yeah. Katie Heid from Michigan News Source. By the way, guys, if you're not looking at Michigan News Source every day, you're missing out on great headlines, great in-depth stories, investigative reporting, and a lot of great stuff. Katie Hyde's part of that great team at MichiganNewsSource.com. MichiganNewsSource.com. You can also hear it on 24 radio stations, top of the hour news every day. No matter where you may roam in Michigan, you can hear Michigan News Source, and you can check it out at MichiganNewsSource.com. Katie Heid, thank you. Let us know when things change, because this is a hot story. People are really irritated. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
There you have it. All right, still to come on this fine Tuesday, Ivy will join me from her perch, not far from Studio G. I'll be right back.